Judicial Watch is the Justice Department when it comes to enforcing, cleaning up election rolls. We are doing the heavy lifting. One issue I know many of you are concerned about, a lot of Americans are concerned about it, even though the left media pretends we shouldn't be concerned about, which is we shouldn't be concerned about it. I know many of you are concerned about election integrity. And it's been a high priority for Judicial Watch for years. And specifically, in addition to all the other battles related to election integrity, we've taken a leadership role, and we are the nation's leader in cleaning up the election rolls as federal law requires. If the left had their way, you could die and move away and be a potential voter on a roll in a state forever and a day. I mean, we found time and time again in states across the nation that they're not cleaning up the rolls as federal law requires. And federal law requires that states take reasonable steps to clean up the voter rolls. Does it have to be perfect? Of course not. And the reasonable steps are, the law is, thanks as confirmed by Judicial Watch, it was we solidified this approach through our litigation. The law is, if you don't show up and vote in a federal election one year, the state or locality is supposed to send you a card. Let's say I don't vote. Hey, I'm supposed to get a card in the mail. Hey, Tom Fitton, you didn't vote. Are you still there? Let us know. That's all you need to do. Let us know. And if I don't respond to that card or otherwise vote in the next 2 federal elections, they are supposed to remove my name. Because what's the danger of having an ineligible name on the rolls of someone who died or moved away? It's a potential pool of voters that fraudsters can use. And just having dirty voting rolls generally undermines confidence in the elections. That's why federal law requires it. And until Judicial Watch came along 12 years ago now and started enforcing the law, suing in court to get states to clean up the rolls, successfully so, dramatically so, the law has been virtually ignored because the Justice Department, which is run by the left under both Republican and Democrat administrations, they don't want to enforce that law because the left relies on ensuring their policies and narratives all suggest to me they want to be able to steal elections when necessary, and that means having dirty voting rolls, that means having no voter ID, that means virtually having no checks in place for elections, election security, to keep citizens only voting, for instance, and stop non-citizens from voting. So Judicial Watch just filed a major lawsuit in California on behalf of itself. And if you're a Judicial Watch supporter, this is for you. And the Libertarian Party of California to clean up the voter rolls in California. They're a mess. We filed it in the U.S. District of California. It's a massive, new, important lawsuit. As I described earlier to you, summarized, the National Voter Registration Act requires states to conduct general programs that make a reasonable effort to remove from the official voter rolls the names of ineligible voters who have died or changed residence. The law requires registrations to be canceled when voters fail to respond to address confirmation notices and then fail to vote in the next 2 general federal elections. Now, in 2016, as I noted earlier, the Supreme Court ratified this approach in a key case. The left didn't like the fact that Judicial Watch had caused this activity to take place in Indiana and Ohio. Specifically, I think it was Indiana. Was it? Who said it? Indiana or Ohio? I don't remember now. Well, either way, the Supreme Court said Judicial Watch's negotiated settlement that required that, that's right. I mean, that's what the law is. And ironically, back in 2023, just about a year or so ago, we had settled the case of years before that, but part of that settlement was a lawsuit against California again, prior to that, and Los Angeles County, and we settled. And Los Angeles County removed, as a result of that settlement, 1.2 million names. 4 million names have been removed nationally just in the last year or two, thanks to Judicial Watch litigation in places like California. I mean, I talked about this in summary fashion on a video about this earlier. Let's go look at that. Hey everyone, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton here. We have a new lawsuit in California to clean up the rolls there. It looks like, according to the numbers we've obtained from California, and they're reporting to the federal government, that there are 1 to 2 million names plus who should not be on the rolls, but who are on the rolls. These are people who died or moved away. Now, we previously sued Los Angeles County in California and settled. Los Angeles County, in response, removed 1.2 million names from the rolls. But as you can see from this latest lawsuit, as federal law requires, there needs to be a lot more cleaning up in California. We already have a lawsuit in Illinois to clean up the rolls there, and over the last year or two, we've caused the removal of 4 million names from across the country in places like, as I said, California, New York City, Washington, D.C., and up in Pennsylvania. But there's still a lot more work to be done. Yeah, as I say, California is still a mess. It's chaos there when it comes to their voting rolls. And specifically, here's the copy of the lawsuit. This is what the lawsuit looks like. You can go online and read it. Go to our press release. There'll be a link to I think our press release will be linked below, and then you can click on the release, and then we'll have the video. Then we'll have the link to the lawsuit there. And as we warned them early on, because we have to send them a warning, say what's going on here. And sometimes the warning works. We get responses back from counties or states saying, thanks for letting us know. We removed a bunch of names, or don't worry, we're on it, or the numbers were wrong, etc. And we don't sue. But in this case, California really didn't have a good response. I mean, our initial analysis showed that 12 counties' inactive registrations constituted more than 20% of all registrations. So in many counties in California, a fifth of the list, 1 of every 5 names, shouldn't have been there. They were dirty. One county had 27, over 1 out of 4 names. Now, what's the national average in terms of dirty names on the rolls? May still be too high as far as I'm concerned. It's 11%. So nearly twice the national average. And here are the specifics. So, the litigation comes only after a lot of letters, right, back and forth. Because believe it or not, if we can get the good result of getting the names cleaned up short of a lawsuit, that's fine. The threat of a lawsuit, getting the results of actually suing, oh, that's nearly perfect. So we do a lot of work to try to get our goals accomplished short of litigation. And California, as part of this work, it kind of admitted to us that they were not doing what they needed to do, and nothing short of litigation was going to accomplish our goals. Listen to this detail. California, in their response to our litigation letters, admitted that 21 California counties removed five or fewer registrations pursuant to Section 8D1B. That's the National Voter Registration Act reference. Basically failing to respond to a confirmation notice and then failing to vote in 2 federal elections. So that process resulted in no counties removing nobody. In the measuring period, let's go back. I was really, from November 2020 to November 2022. Okay, now I'm going to read it here. 16 of the 21 counties removed 0 such registrations during this period. For 2 years, you had 21 counties in California remove no dirty names from the list as they're supposed to under federal law. And these are the counties. It's listed there. If you're a California resident, you may live there. Chances are you might live there, given the odds, the population. Alameda had, oh wait, Alameda gets a brownie point. They had 1 name they removed. Alpine, Calaveras, Imperial, Lake, Modoc. How do you pronounce Modoc? Never heard that county. Placer, Plumas, San Benito, San Bernardino. So some big counties. I'm assuming some of these counties I'm not aware of are rural and have not large numbers, but others like San Bernardino, that's a big county. San Luis, San Mateo, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, Shasta, etc. Stanislaus, Ventura, Yolo. Those counties contain 22% of California's population. Oh, 22%. 5.9 million names in those counties, and they haven't cleaned up the names at all. And as we say in the next paragraph there in the complaint, the lawsuit as a point of comparison, San Diego County with a smaller total, they have a big number, 2.3, almost 2.4 million names, voter registrations. They removed 130,000 registrations. So those counties probably should have removed what? I'd say about 500,000 at least. That's probably being generous. And then we go on. It gets better or worse depending on your point of view. A bunch of counties don't even know how many names they removed. They admit in paragraph 60 here, 16 California counties could not at the time of the EAC survey, that's the Election Assistance Commission survey. So this isn't like numbers where we are just drawing out of a hat. These are numbers they're telling us about or telling the federal government about. The Election Assistance Commission is an arm of the federal government, and there was reporting about their compliance with the law they're supposed to provide to the federal government. So we look at that reporting to figure out whether they're complying with the law. You would think the Justice Department does that too, but Judicial Watch is the Justice Department when it comes to enforcing cleaning up election rolls. We are doing the heavy lifting. The Justice Department, which is run by the radical left, wants the rolls to be dirty. That's my conclusion. And so we come in and we do the work that they should be doing. I mean, we're happy to do the work, but it is outrageous that we do it with zero assistance from the Justice Department. Completely outrageous. So getting back to the complaint, 16 California counties could not tell how many registrations were removed pursuant to the law in the last 2 years, November 2020 to November 2022. I guess that's not the last 2 years, but that was the last reporting period. The 16 counties are Del Norte, El Dorado, Inyo, Kern, Lassen, Marin, Mendocino, Merced, Mono, Nevada, Orange, Riverside, San Joaquin, Santa Clara, Sonoma, and Tulare. So that's another 28% of the population. So we're talking about half of California, counties comprising half of California's population, basically either haven't removed names or don't know how many names they removed. And you can be sure if they knew, they'd tell us. Because if the number's not there, that means they're, in our view, they're not doing their job. I mean, how is it reasonable you know, you're supposed to take a reasonable effort to clean up the rolls. I mean, how is it you show that you're doing something reasonably if you don't even know what the numbers are? I mean, you just presume the worst. I mean, a few of the counties started doing something after we made noise, but, you know, that kind of highlights the issue too, doesn't it? I mean, you just can't wait for someone to catch you before you do something. That's not running a reasonable program. And there's no reason to believe they're going to start doing things honestly from here on in. So there's a lot of other great detail in the lawsuit, and I encourage you to read it. But as I said, we've got this new big case in California, and it could result, or it should result, in upwards of 2 million names, at least 1 million, maybe as high as 2.5 million. So let's stick with 2 million. 1 million plus names at least, maybe as many as 2.5 million, who knows? Being removed from the rolls if this case either goes the way we hope it will go. Now, when that happens, it may be a few years before all of that happens. It may be immediate that some of that happens. Either way, I'm quite confident, based on Judicial Watch's demonstrated record of success, that we will have cleaner elections in California thanks to this lawsuit. Heck, our prior lawsuit led to the removal of 1.2 million names, the settlement of that lawsuit. And these numbers are much bigger. So I don't know about you, but I think Judicial Watch deserves wide support for doing this work that the Justice Department refuses to do and would never be done. And if you like this type of work, I encourage you to support Judicial Watch by going to judicialwatch.org. We've got the case in Illinois to clean up the rolls. We have a case in Illinois to ensure that they're not counting ballots for 2 weeks after Election Day. We have a similar case in Mississippi where they're counting ballots after Election Day. And more is coming. More is coming. But dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.